Good morning, friends. Today I am back out at the State Gamelands parking lot of, this is the place I tried to go and it poured down raining on me the other day. I think that was Sunday. And it's such a beautiful spot. So I wanted to come back and try to go and see how the trail is. It was completely empty when I was here Sunday because I guess because it was raining and stuff. There's, I don't know, quite a few people here actually. So I don't know who I'm going to run into or what I'm going to discover, but let's go. Okay, this is like so annoying. I don't know what this is, but I'm trying to do a video here, guys. So this is a little sign here, and I've done this video the other day. I should probably just have used that rather than to deal with the noise. But this is State Gamelands 145, and this is the trail here has a name, General Nicholas Biddle Road, and there's a sign about munitions. So we won't be picking up anything. We don't know what it is. There's a side path that I did find when I got to it because it wasn't that far in. Some kind of a thing there. I guess they're gonna clear a trail. I don't know. But this is where I started out, and there's a side trail on the right. I think it's called Swamp Road. Sounds interesting, eh? And it's actually a beautiful day, finally, to get out and walk. And I was kind of getting sick for the last month, and it had started out as a cold and just kept getting worse and worse. And that's why now I know why. I should have went to the doctor sooner, but I had to get urgent care. I got meds on Monday, starting to feel a little bit better today, but that's why I kept getting out of breath. I thought it was allergies, I thought it was a cold. It was a little more serious than that, but I got a steroid, I got an antibiotic, and I'm on the mend. So I'm happy about that. And I just couldn't stand to stay inside anymore. I had to get out. Okay, about 0.3 miles down this trail. But incidentally, there are some yellow blazes on the trees on this State Gamelands trail, and they're on this part. But we're going to be turning off to the right here. The trail is really muddy today. We've had a lot of rain. So I did wear my Gore-Tex boots. And this is called Swamp Road. And I know that it goes in the direction of a stream that I want to go explore a little bit. And the thing is, on the map, I have followed this stream as far down as I can get to see. There's no name listed on Rd Trails for it, and I can't seem to trace it back to what tributary or what it is coming from. We'll see when we get closer. Maybe something will pop up. As I'm just walking by, and it's this big kind of open area down here. I'm not sure what it is for. There's a little path kind of down to it. Not a listed path. It's a dip in the ground here. Not sure if that's anything of interest there or not, but you know, kind of when I see, and it's the second time I've seen a sign for munitions on the trail, if it had anything to do with that. But right now, here's a 360 for you. This is Swamp Trail. Beautiful little trail. Beautiful day. And I'm really happy to be out here. There's a lot of little muddy patches. This little streamlet is cutting back in through the woods there, but that's not the stream that I'm looking for. So I saw a tiny little path off to the left here, very swampy little area that I have to go through. And this is exactly why I wore my Gore-Tex boots today. It is getting pretty buggy out here already. I'm gonna just see if this goes towards the stream that I was looking for. I don't know, it kind of seems to just dead end, but let's start again. Let's just see if we can keep going through here and not get too lost. I keep seeing these in the ground back here. Not really sure what they're here for. Beautiful ferns back through here. Just trying to watch my step and listen for any rattling. Really muddy through this part. But I'm headed towards the stream. I can see that. Okay, so apparently this is the stream that I was looking for. I thought it would be bigger. It appears to start up to my right a little bit further up. As you can see, there is a little path back here. It's just touch and go with it. It seems to go in and out. So I'm going to follow this one a little bit. But what I wanted to do was follow the stream. So I guess I'll have to make that decision on my way back. So I'm not really sure where this path is taking me. I keep seeing blue markings on the tree. I don't know if they're marks to be cut down or if this is a path of some sort, but this trail is not listed on all trails, so I have no idea where it's taking me, but it's a definite path. It's a definite trail. I'll turn around and see some more blue markings up here. So there they are. There's one on that tree, one back there on that tree, and in the very distant there's another mark. But the trail keeps winding around in different ways, and I also see more of these. So the trail of the unknown, I suppose. This is why I'm so glad to have all trails. I just hope that my GPS doesn't go out. So it looks like it's crossing over this stream again. And there's some little teeny tiny waterfalls. This stream is just very small. Maybe that's why it's not named. I don't know. So I gotta kind of figure if I'm going to keep on going on this trail. This seems to be going to the very end of the stream and then back out into the woods. Huh, I don't know. So this trail just brought me back to Swamp Road Trail. And so I'm turning left here and gonna go a little bit on the Swamp Road. I'm out of breath already. I guess a day and a half isn't enough time for your meds to really kick in. But I swear I was feeling so much better. So I'm not gonna try to push myself today, but I'm just going real slow. You know, going through the woods, seeing what I can see. There's a whole bunch of skunk cabbage up. And all along this path, there's this little winding waterway. Just keeps cutting across the path. I wonder if that's the bogginess back here is why they call it Swamp Road. But it is a little bit buggy. I probably should have brought my bug net just in case, but so far, I'm all right. And at this juncture, Swamp Road splits again. There's no listed path for that trail either, but it's obviously a trail. We're just going to keep going on good old Swamp Road. It looks like that trail to the right leads out to one called Ridge Road, but this will come out to about the same place, but as you can see, the trail is super muddy. And so more of these blue marks, if you can see them, there's one there, and there's one further back that you probably can't see. There's no trail there, so I don't know. Maybe they're gonna cut those trees down. And on this little swamp road, it also looks like there's tire marks, which could be the trail maintenance crew. Not sure. So I guess it's a good time to practice holding my selfie stick. I don't know, maybe other people have different types of selfie sticks, but it kind of looks like they're here the whole time. But if I do that, my arm has to be fully extended. Kind of uncomfortable. But since there's not a whole lot of interest on this trail, it's just a nice walk through the woods on a nice day. I thought, you know, just take you along on the walk. You can see it's mostly just woods. So now we're going to be making a left, and apparently this is the Rd Trail. My gosh. It's like, it goes back and then, well, we'll see what happens here. It's an obvious trail, but okay. I guess it's not so as bad as it looked in the beginning. So I just learned recently, probably a couple months ago, and then I forgot, and then I learned again. Whenever you see those things up there, they're called galls or burls or burrs, and they're just made from mostly from different insects, you know, living off of the tree. There are some other reasons they're there, but that's the main one. I think someone asked me about that, so it does look like a brain growing out of the tree though. Still kind of following this tiny little stream here. So you can kind of hear water off and on throughout the trail. It's the same stream I was on earlier. I really wish I would have put bug spray on. I just found somebody's little bushcraft shelter right beside this little stream. Not sure, are you allowed to do that on state game lands? I guess people just do it and get away with it for one night. Maybe they're content creators and they're doing a stealth camp. I don't know. But I guess that's probably actually the first interesting or cool thing I've seen. Big old deer just ran across the path in front of me. Made me jump. But there's his little hoof marks. Went up into the woods. Wish I had like an instant camera just mounted somewhere that I could just take snapshots without fiddling around with stuff. Probably could have caught him on film that way. So it's about 6:15, and you know, since I'm just walking along this trail, hitting every spider web, of course, that was ever created, because I don't think anyone's been back through here in a while, I thought I would just mention that I am so grateful for all trails. When I first started hiking by myself, I had a goal of getting through all 13 designated trails in a park that was located very close to me at the time. And it was also a sense of fear for me, because I had been through on some of the trails there. There's markings, but they're very confusing. They're very confusing. One trail color leads to another trail color. It crisscrosses a bunch of times. And my roommate and I had tried, and my daughter and I had tried, and a couple other friends, and several of those times wound up getting lost. And you know, what was supposed to be a 1 or 2 mile hike just to get out in the air turned out to be 5 or 6 miles, and it would be getting dark and not real, you know, pleasant at that point. So, you know, in spite of some hikers, you know, saying, oh, you shouldn't have to use all trails all the time, and you shouldn't have to, you should learn, that's fine, okay, but you get, that's like a purist, you know, backpacker / hiker, old school kind of thing, and that's fine. I know, because I am sort of a purist when it comes to art, and I can be kind of snobby about that. So I get it. But you know, for me and for other people that are just beginning to hike, and they're intimidated, they don't want to get lost, I highly recommend it. I have been able to go to hundreds of places and have very little fear of getting lost. Like this, for instance. I'm going through this woods on this trail that's really not marked. I would have probably gotten turned around a dozen times and been scared and wound up being out here after dark. And anyway, just a shout out to all trails. Thank you. Okay, so we're at the end of Ridge Road. We're turning left on what has been dubbed Sunday Trail, and it goes out and around and meets up with Farm Trail apparently. All right, this is the stream I was looking for earlier, and I'm gonna have to cross over it at this point. It is a little wet. I'm gonna put my camera away just because the rocks are slippery here. But it is a pretty little stream, eh? There we go. So cute. And there's the trail. Wow, this is like constant on this farm trail, farm road trail, farm trail. Like, I have to walk in the water. There's no other way around it. And some of the places, like the mud here, that part wasn't bad. But as you can see, these are my boots. It sank that far down into the mud. So, I don't know. I don't mind crossing streams, but when you're crossing mud and slippery rocks, and it's not really even a point of interest or anything, that's kind of annoying, I think. And also, this part of the trail is way less groomed than most of it. So you're gonna have to find your way up through the brush around certain things like that. Getting pretty rugged and wild out here. Okay, I'm about almost 3 miles in, and I know I'm about ready to be done with this trail. I just came out of the woods finally, and we're about to enter this open area behind me. And I have one more turn to the left. It'll take me back to General Nicholas Biddle Road, and that will take me back out to my car. So I just have to figure out where this trail is from here. This is kind of crazy. I just walked through a bunch of swampy stuff. There was no trail. It looks like someone may have gone straight through here, all this tall grass. So that's where I'm gonna go and hope that this is correct. There is no marking for a trail here whatsoever. Lots of tall grass. I don't like it at all. Yeah, that was completely ridiculous. I'm coming back out finally. It looks like a trail, but it's after that wide open space, and I'm telling you, there was no markings. I just had to keep going forward on the direction that All Trails was telling me to go. So I don't like that at all. I'm going by, I see somebody's trail cam here, so I'm gonna wave. At least I made it this far. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of a little ATV up here. Big old meadow here. We should soon be getting up to the turnoff and have a regular old trail. Ooh, I am really out of breath right now. I can only assume someone drove it up here maybe to go archery hunting, or maybe it was a park ranger, forest ranger. Okay, here's the road. I left here, and it should only be, I would say, about a half a mile or so to my car. So this is General Nicholas Biddle Road again, the one I started on. So I made a loop, and this, if you're gonna come back here and you don't want to go through all that mud and stuff, it seems like this would be the trail to go on. It goes for quite a ways. It's not such close quarters. My neighbor, on my way out the door, stopped me and said, hey, there's a new tick that they just found, so be careful. So I'm gonna have to look that up. Another hunting trail, I think. So I'll look that up when I get home, find out what that's all about. I didn't use any bug spray today. I did have long pants on, but short sleeves. It's nice, it goes out to that meadow. We'll find out though. If I find anything, I'll put it on the video. Okay, so I did find some information on this new tick that was just reported today, well, June 11th, 2025. This is in our LehighValleyLive.com, and it says that the invasive species of tick is spreading rapidly in Pennsylvania, just found to be the carrier of a bacterium, rare bacteria that might be deadly. It reports that the Asian longhorned tick was discovered in New Jersey in 2017 and has since spread to 22 states in total. Its number spiking a whopping 150% over the past 5 years. And it says too here that, I wanted to read this part to you. Symptoms of the illness include fever, chills, headache. Unfortunately though, people can make a recovery if treated quickly after a formal diagnosis. So if you want to look that up, that's what I was being told about by my neighbor on my way out the door today. So, and we're passing the turnoff to Swamp Road again, which is where I turned at the beginning of this trail. Didn't see any of those other diamond-shaped metal things except that one, but there's where we turned down initially, and not far to my car. I keep saying that, it just keeps going on and on and on. Okay, I'm finally back to my car and took off my hydration vest, and one thing I always do is pack ice packs and water in a little thing, and I am so grateful, especially, and this is important I think, in hot weather. You know, I bring enough water along, at least I think I do, for most trails, and you know, then I have this to look forward to when I get back. And the other thing I always have is extra shoes, because when I get back to the car, my feet are my feet are dry, but there's a lot of mud, and my feet are hot, so I just want to kind of, you know, get out of these shoes before I go home. One other thing here I forgot to mention, there is a porta potty here, so if you're coming out here you'll have one available. And I'm ready to head home. I just wanted to make a little closeout section here. It was not exactly what I expected. I didn't really know what to expect though. You saw that there was a part that there was no path, but I just kept going straight on my All Trails app and got out to the other end of it where there was a trail. And I didn't like that at all, because tall grass, hot weather, snakes, you know, but I didn't see any snakes. There's a lot of other trails that start from this parking lot, so I'll probably explore those later in the year. But again, I have to get home and get to work at 7 o'clock. But I'm so glad I got out today. 4 miles, a little more than 4 miles actually, in State Gamelands 141. And now I know where this parking lot is, and there's a couple other entrances to this section of State Gamelands, so I'll be exploring those later in the summer too. Everybody, I hope you're having a nice day, enjoying this beautiful weather for a change. Namaste.